Hello. So I finished module 3 for the Amazon Honeycode tutorial on AWS Educate. And I really like it. This video is not going to be very long because it's just going to kind of be a recap and what's next. So let's go ahead and minimize this, get that out of the way. So this again is on AWS Educate. So I'm on module 3, which was the final module. It's finished with a module 3 knowledge check. And what I like about this is it gives good instructions as long as you know what to do with it. Okay, so let's kind of start with objective, lesson 3.1 objectives. Move that out of the way. So it gives you objectives so you kind of know what you're going to get into. And talks about the critical needs to knows and such and strategizing. And what's really nice about this particular module is that it gives you like the mentality of how to create something. Because sometimes when something's so big that you're like, I don't know where to start, this gives you a place to start in the work process. So that's nice about this as well. So that's a recap. Okay, moving on to the next one. Okay, you got your objectives, talk about table structure, and a lot of this stuff, if you're familiar with Excel or Microsoft Access or any other kind of two-dimensional kind of database system, then a lot of the stuff is going to be, it's not going to be too much of a learning curve. So let's see, the recap, and then somewhere objectives, somewhere where we're getting actually to the creating of it. Okay, so it talks about filters. Again, if you're familiar with Excel or Access, this won't be too difficult for you to catch on. If you're not as familiar with it, you just might need a little more thought to it. Okay, so this gives you just, well, this is a good, right here, this is a good resource to have develop a better understanding of what filters can do. If you're not as familiar with, there's some resources here as well. Let's see, recap. Okay, practice exercise, that's what I was looking for. Oh, it's a review, that's not what I want. So all this stuff you can do on your own, and I don't want that to be the bulk of the video. I want to kind of make these videos about 10 minutes long. Tutorial. Okay. There we go. Okay. So we talk about working backwards. That was earlier in this particular module, talk about working backwards as the ideology and the mentality to help build your app so you know what to put in there, what you're going to need. Because sometimes if you work at the beginning and try to build out, it get like a big old spider web and stuff, and you don't really need some of the stuff that you got into that spider web. You get frustrated and you just want to throw your hands up in the air and walk away. So it's too hard. It's not. You just got to get the right mindset and work in a way that's going to be effective. And in this particular module tutorials, it talks about working backwards. So you want to take your goal and you want to work backwards to, start from the end, and because that's where you want to end up, and then just backspace until you get to where you can start. Okay, so okay, so it gives you these tasks, and there are some things like the interface, like I would have preferred this to be numbers as opposed to bullets, but that's just my personal preference. Is that like the 1, 2, 3 sequential stuff, and it has it down here. Again, some of the stuff that I'm going to share is just personal preference. So it talks about your target outcome. Let's see. Okay, goes into all of that good stuff. So this this is the file that you can use. It's a CSV file. You just need to download it and then upload it. And this is where it gives you, again, the task and what to do. And you're going to create a summary for the assignee column. So, well, actually, let's go back one. I think in the previous modules, like some of these numbers didn't quite line up with the task order. So that's something, I think in module 3, everything is pretty well lined up. So that's not an issue. This will talk more about pick lists and, but basically it's very similar to Access. And I think even Excel can do it. Basically, it's a drop down into another sub data table. But it's fairly easy to walk through it as long as you just don't get overwhelmed with the interface. Just take your time, especially if you're not that familiar with Excel or Access, take your time and read the instructions. Another thing that I wish they did do would add links so you can open up the workbook. So they didn't do that in here. So the link, once you have to, set up a Honeycode account. It's not the same thing as an AWS account. It's kind of like Alexa. It has a subset of it. So the URL is builder.honeycode.aws, and you can see where I've been playing with it the past couple of days. I wish they provided the link in there so you can just, click on it, but they didn't. So you just have to remember that's what it is. Okay, so I had a phone call. So I hit pause. So I think where I left off was the fact that one thing that I would change on this is the fact that they don't have the URL for Honeycode. Throughout all the modules. They have it in the very beginning, like whenever they're introducing Honeycode, but they don't have the link. So if you're not doing it consecutive, which I did not, then you have to remember what the link was. But it's builder.honeycode.aws. So it's not on the AWS console or access through AWS Educate. It is builder.honeycode.aws. I don't believe it required a credit card or anything or having an actual AWS account with it. I don't believe so. I don't remember that being a requirement. You just kind of go to builder.honeycode.aws. You create an account. It'll ask you your general stuff, name, emails, and whatnot. Nothing too worrisome. So that is one thing that I would change. Just kind of be as an FYI. That's how you do it. That's how you actually create something in Honeycode. The other thing that I would just kind of reinforce is play with it. This you see on my screen did not follow all the instructions, and that's okay because I learned more by screwing up, more or less. And but I have an idea of something I want to do it, whenever I go through again, because that's the way you get better at it. It's just do it again. And yeah, so it was really good. It's a lot of fun. If you like tables, if you like Excel and Access like I do, you're going to enjoy this. If you don't, may not enjoy that much, but it's a nice tool. It's a nice tool to have, to create something like this without having to spend the time and the resources and stuff on the back end side of things, because this is called visual coding, visual editor, something along those lines, and it's becoming more and more of the norm because of the time that it saves. So that's the end of this one, and my next one will be focusing more on doing it for real. And I did actually think I already saw an email saying I got my digital badge, so let me pause this while I pull that up. Yep, and there's my digital badge. So this is an AWS Educate. I'm a cloud ambassador, so my interface may look different than yours. But you can see these are the digital badges that I've acquired to date, and the Honeycode one is on there. What's really nice about this, if you're a student, is the fact that you have a profile where potential employers can look to see what you've been creating and building and doing. So that's really nice. Mine doesn't have that set up because I'm not a student, but if you have any questions on getting set up with AWS Educate, please let me know. Thank you.